shot from.
It's a
Hey,
sweet
sweet
day.
day, baby. Welcome back, guys. Rated F. I'm Robbie.
I'm Felix. What's going on, my peoples?
How y'all doing out there in the Rated F verse? Creating a home verse. Everybody got a verse, a metaverse, a this
Every
verse, a that verse.
different universe, different Earths. We're just gonna run around with it.
Different timelines and dimensions.
That'd be
and
kind of
all that.
interesting. It'd be very, very interesting to figure out if there was like another version of us out there in the world or
Mhm.
universe. And maybe I'll be buff, have
You never know.
luscious locks.
Somewhere out there, there's a version of me who's successful and not a loser.
What's going on, guys? As you can hear, we're already talking about a lot of universes, which means there's only one, well, technically two, but there's only one real reason why we're going to be talking about multiple universes. Doctor Strange.
And the multiverse of madness, my friends.
Oh man, I'm super excited for that one, and I'm just trying to get some stuff situated, just information wise, because I know there's a lot we want to kind of touch up on, and I think a lot of stuff that we talked personally off camera beforehand.
Right.
But definitely a lot of things that we have going on with that. That trailers, what we have like 2, maybe 3 trailers now that are dropped out.
You know, I have no idea. I've seen 2. I've seen the first one that dropped obviously after Spider-Man, and then the end credits of that, and then the official trailer with everything that's going on in that trailer. I'm not sure. I think that was like 2 months ago, a month ago or so. I don't know if they've released
like
anything
that, yeah.
because the movie comes out in like May.
Yes, it's pretty soon.
Yeah,
And for those of you who haven't really watched it, watch Spider-Man. That definitely is a good setup for the next movie. But if you also haven't watched it, you have to watch a lot of the Disney Plus shows to kind of get caught up, and it kind of ties up because you don't have. I don't know if you want to watch it in some order. I did because I'm a geek that way, and I decided to do it that way. Because I waited for. I actually waited for everything to get posted. I didn't watch anything. I avoided all spoilers. I avoided everything. And then finally I said, okay, let me watch it. And I went through Wanda. I watched Loki. I did the Winter Soldier, which technically doesn't really tie into the multiverse, but it's a good show to watch still. And then you have to watch the What Ifs. And then eventually you have to watch like the Black Widow movie and the Shang-Chi movie, which I still haven't seen those two, which shame on me, I should have watched them, but I'm just trying to get everything all together.
In time. And then you got to go and if you haven't already, you have to see Spider-Man. They just Spider-Man, Multiverse, and then it's the animated Spider-Verse, and it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah, you're a busy guy.
It's a lot. But when we kind of want to just jump right into it, guys, and really, one big thing we had is thoughts. What are our thoughts on the trailer? So, Robbie, I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear what you're thinking about it. Just kind of give me your feel of it.
Watching the trailer, the most recent trailer that I can see, I like how they're tying everything in. I like how they're just trying to bring, they're kind of fixing the fix-ups, except they've acquired for the last 5 years. They've acquired a lot of content. They've acquired Daredevil and everything right now on Disney Plus and everything like that. They're trying to retcon like, hey, this is part of it, but this is it. So they're trying to fix things. They're trying to play cleanup. Obviously with Fox and the acquisition of them, so all of the X-Men stuff and Deadpool lingering out there, whoever and wherever he is. But looking at the trailer, it's a giant cleanup. It's, if you haven't seen Spider-Man already, and spoilers if you haven't seen it already, Jesus, but it's ending Spider-Man. It takes everything that you knew about Spider-Man being coming from Sony and with Tom Holland and coming into the Civil War and him actually being in the Marvel. It takes all of that and it culminates blah 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 into this is a giant origin story of who Spider-Man was and who he's going to become and the actual Spider-Man. So now we're going into the comics. Now we're going into, he doesn't have any of that tech. He doesn't need he not that he doesn't need it, but he's grown as a person, and he doesn't need all of the technology that Iron Man
The
gives.
handicaps.
Right, everything that was kind of holding him back, but also springing him forward because he wasn't thinking for himself. So when you come to Doctor Strange, it's taking all of that and it's just kind of, sweeping everything off. It's like, okay, look, this is the bigger picture of all of this jigsaw puzzle stuff that we got going on. So at the end of the movie, we will reveal, and I feel that they're going to reveal exactly what direction they're going to go into. Because there's been rumors that, the Kang the Conqueror is going to be the next big bad, but then they say that Thanos might come back, and then they're hints and rumors of maybe the Fantastic Four being in it. If you have Fantastic Four, then there's Silver Surfer, Galactus. Is obviously on the ground. You have Doctor Doom. There's a lot. There's a lot. There's a lot. So I feel like this is is a very important movie. Very, very important. So
Yeah.
looking at the trailer, I loved it. I liked those little sneak peeks, and we'll talk about that later. And I like how they're kind of going in a direction, but they're not saying exactly which direction they're going into. Because they could put
Yeah.
everything into this movie, but at the end is when they're actually going to be like, "This is the road we're going in." It's a maze. Giant movie is just a giant. It is just a maze.
I think the trailer kind of gives you that feel of it the whole time. Every time I watch the trailers, I've watched a couple of times. You kind of feel like it's just a maze of. I mean, it's a lot of crap that they have to go through and have to kind of like filter out and fix up. And because of the fact that what they did in the Spider-Man movie, even looking at the what ifs and what's going on there, watching Loki, what's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Loki show created an even bigger split than is really kind of hyped up about. It's again another spoiler. If you have not seen it, watch it. I'm not gonna go into too much of what happens, but just kind of know that Loki has a big cluster
It's a
on
lot.
this too. It's a lot. It's a lot
But
of
I
stuff that
like
goes
the
on.
way they explain it too. They explain time, which is one of the
Yeah,
hardest things. Even up to last night, my wife and I were just sitting around killing a bottle of margarita, and we were just end up in this giant talk about astrophysics and time and Neil deGrasse Tyson and XYZ. And I'm a nerd, but I bored her to bed before 9 o'clock. So
I'm sure she looked at you like, because I know her. She was probably like, "What are you talking about now?"
and then it was like, oh, thanks for asking. I'll explain that. Here's another two
Thank you for the door.
hours. And she only asked one question. Poor girl.
But
So,
honestly, I think that
hmm,
the thought on this trailer, my only thought on this trailer is that it's going to, yes, it's going to fix up a lot of stuff that happened in the other movies. I think they're also, from what I can see, it's going to fix up a lot of stuff that they've done, like you've mentioned with Fox, a lot of things that they've done with Sony, a lot of things that they've done with a lot of the movies because of they've kind of like throw little tidbits here and there about what's going on and what's going to happen. Obviously, if you've seen some of the shows, you're going to see some of the connections of what's going to happen. So it's big. I think it's definitely gonna be a big movie. This is gonna be the big shot for the next reverse role of the new phase.
hmm,
Hopefully leading into the new Avengers, where
right,
Spider-Man takes over.
right.
Um, so definitely want to see what they're gonna do with that.
I feel it's really good. I mean, watching the trailer, there's so much niceties going on. There's so much going on in the background. There's so much in the forefront. I mean, you got things that kind of lead if you're a comic book geek and you're a connoisseur, which I'm not. I'm not a connoisseur. I'm just a dabble. But you see evidence of the Illuminati. You see evidence of secret wars. You see there's so
Yeah, I was gonna
much.
say don't spoil a lot of stuff yet. There's still a lot
Yes.
we gotta talk about right now. I actually want to go because you've kind of already mentioned one thing, and I am when I get this to work. There we go. I wanted to go into the next question. Is based on what you see on the and these are like great questions that I've noticed that Rob you've created. So I was looking at this and
Dinosaur.
who is the main who you think is the main villain of it all? And I'll go first on this one
Please.
because I was thinking really hard
It's
when you
under.
sent me these questions. I'm looking and I was thinking, I was like, man, who could it really be? And then we've heard all the rumors. I think it's gonna be a double. I think there's gonna be Mordo is gonna come back.
Okay.
That's the one from Doctor Strange that he kind of vanished. Was sucking the power out of people.
Hmm.
I think he's gonna be one of the baddies, but I think it's gonna ultimately be Kang the Conqueror.
Okay. Okay.
Because
Okay.
I've heard that I think if I'm not, and don't quote me, I think they've already pretty much, got somebody for that role. Or if they haven't, they're going to really show. They're going to do kind of do that Thanos thing where they show like the quick snippet of it. I think, in my opinion, because they've been
Oh,
talking about it. Um, I have to watch Shang-Chi because I know this. I think part of that movie is going to tie in as well. I started watching it, but I never got a chance to finish it. But I definitely got to just kind of go through it. Um, but I think
um,
there's going to be huge jump into that.
do you know who is Jonathan? Let me see if I could pull his name up here. Just trying to make sure that I got the right guy. Have you ever heard of Jonathan Majors?
Majors. It sounds familiar. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, he was in a couple of movies. He was in Gully. A few movies actually. Rising actor, very good actor, black actor. But I heard a little sneak peek he he is in line to see to prize that role of Kang, and
Oh,
he's very versatile in what he can do. He's very versatile in his ability to play different characters at the same time. He's done it before. He could do it again. So when you look at Kang, and especially you look into the comic books, there's Kang the Conqueror, but there's also different versions of Kang. That's why in one of the comic book readings, there's the Illuminati, and they're just kind of running shit and trying to figure out exactly what they can do to kind of help. Excuse me, the situation of what's going on in their world and kind of put ease and peace to all the madness and chaos that's going on. By the end of that comic book, you actually start seeing the real reason why the Illuminati were putting pieces together and and try, making little moves in a certain direction because that was their original plan. Like this is what we wanted to do. But then you also figure out that it's not the Illuminati. It's all different versions of Kang the Conqueror from from different universes. It's called the Council of Kang. So he could be from different places at different times and different points of time, but he's conscious of all of them.
and they all
He's
kind
a
of work
dangerous
together, if
dude,
I'm correct.
and they
Yeah,
all work together if they want to. Some of them are better
Sh-
than others. Some of them are very selfish. Some of them like to work together. Some are peaceful. Some are worse than Thanos. If yeah, like looking at the 22 movies leading up to Endgame, I believe it was, and Thanos dying. If you haven't seen that spoiler, what are you doing? But you know, but he died like three times. Like he died. All right, cool. But uh, leading up to that, and just seeing exactly how meticulous Thanos is, put that on a bit of steroids, and that's Kang the
oof.
Conqueror. Because he's only one verse. Kang the Conqueror is a different entity compared to all the other Kangs. It's he's deadly.
Yeah,
He's deadly. Hopefully they do it correctly. Um, I've seen them mess up in the past and clean it up. Like
yeah.
Iron Man 3 when they were supposed to be the Mandalorian. And it was just like, okay, this is not the Mandalorian, but
Mandalorian.
huh? The Mandarin,
The man
Mandalorian.
was like Mandalorian. I think we're in a
Thanks for
whole nother
catching me on
universe on
that
this
one.
one.
Yeah, they did a crossover. You don't remember that back when? And the Mandarin, and
Yeah,
and then
that was
they
a good
played
little twist to
cleanup
it because
recently.
I heard again. I from the parts that I've seen of Shang Chi that I've seen, and I was
Mm.
like, that was a cool little kind of like, okay, yeah, Iron Man 3 messed it up, but they kind of rope it back in, and
Yeah, they're just like, hey, sorry about that. Moving on. That
and then
wasn't.
and I've also seen him mess up with Avengers 2, with Ultron. That was probably their worst movie of all their franchises. I think Iron Man 3 is like second worst, and then it's Avengers 2.
Oh boy,
So
just
yeah,
because
that one was the
the accuracy and the little changes that they wanted to do.
well
Unfortunately,
too. Not to knock anybody, the job. I know anybody who does like directing, all that. It's a tough job to do. But Joss Whedon, who did the fix or the finished product of the Justice League,
mm.
has a couple of bad stripes on already on him. Now it's what,
That's
3 strikes, and then adding on whatever he's doing social media wise. So I mean that they
oh,
have a lot of stuff to deal with that.
he's great. What are you talking about? He's batting 1,000. Why not?
And
I
what universe, what multiverse is this one?
don't know. I don't want to be there. I don't want to grow up in that universe. Anyway,
Listen, I already kind of did technically. So I did want to
yeah.
jump over to this question here that you sent over, and I think it's a really big question because, like you mentioned early on in the show, we said that uh, Fox went and had and finally sold not just Wolverine, but X-Men over
Yeah.
to Disney again. So now Disney has the full rights; they can finally utilize them in all of their portrayals.
Hmm.
Um, so is this the start of the X-Men joining the MCU? What do
I'll
you think with the multiverse?
start this one. That to allude to our second question, we're pretty much on the same
Oh,
page
with
there.
the
No, we're on the
Kang.
same page there because I thought it was Kang. I'm thinking it's Kang. We're going the same way. So, blah. But thinking of it being the start of the X-Men coming in, you kind of there's two ways they could do it. This could be a very good way of understanding what like who they are. And it's hard to think when you kind of dabble in the movies that we are in. When you dabble in the movies that we're a part of and the movies that we like, it's like, well, they could use this movie, the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, to open a tunnel into the multiverse and say, oh, well, one of those universes, the real superheroes are the X-Men, and the X-Men alone. We don't know who all these other people are, but we have our big bads and we have our situations going on. So it's really cool to see in that direction because this movie could kind of streamline it right into there, just kind of hit the ground running and go. It could
Yeah,
also take a small dabble and use, like, if you saw you've seen the Professor X. Everybody knows that's Charles Xavier. There's no
oh yeah, that
Patrick
voice is
Stewart.
iconic.
No one could mimic Patrick Stewart's voice. So, other
I
than
I tried, I was trying to do it the other day and it didn't come out really well.
nope, mean it.
It's iconic.
Yeah, yeah, and it's the kind of voice that you're just like, yep, that's him. It's like when you hear a movie with a narrator. But the narrator is Morgan Freeman. Nobody could take that voice. You could play around with it, but it's like, it kind of sounds like him, but it's not. That's Morgan Freeman.
That yeah.
So you never in the trailer you don't really see Charles Xavier, but you see him roll up because he's on their feet. But you see him roll up, and you hear his voice, and you say, "That's the X-Men." He
When
has
he
to
hit
be.
in that trailer when he was like, should we tell him?
Yeah, he was like, "We got to
You're like,
tell him the
oh,
truth." And you're like, "What truth? Like, is it the truth? Like, what the truth?"
what is the truth?
Unfortunately, nowadays, yeah, the truth nowadays is relevant. It just depends on it's subjective. It depends on where you see where you see the truth in the different directions, the vantage points. So exactly what is it that they're feeding him, or is it the whole ultimate, you know, because you're dealing with multiverses. So if you do, what is the baseline foundation of what they're trying to tell Doctor Strange at that moment? But you have Charles Xavier. He is the face of the X-Men, other than Wolverine and
Hmm.
Magneto. So having him there and just say, yes, mutants exist because he's here. And he's pretty much the father of mutants. Now you could kind of trickle into it in the sense of, oh, every movie might have one or two mutants, and then we lead up to eventually an X-Men movie, or we lead up to an X-Men conflict or something of
I
the sort.
think I think this is where you can fix a lot of the Wanda story.
Hmm.
The Scarlet Witch story is going to be big because of the fact that you have to You have to bring in the fact that she is a mutant, not a someone that was created from the Tesseract. Which
Right.
they've gone with that story, and they're probably gonna run with that story for a bit. But I know they've been flirting with the idea of making her Magneto's daughter again.
Yeah, House
Because
of
when
M.
they wish,
That'd be perfect.
yeah, yeah, and they've kind of hinted. So if you watch the Wanda and Vision
Yeah,
show,
WandaVision. Yeah.
yeah, they hinted to a lot of the House of M. You see a lot of like little things, little stuff, and I had to kind of like pick on it, and watch a lot of other videos to kind of tie it all in, so
Yeah.
I can kind of figure it out. And it's like I thought I recognized some stuff, but this is definitely a time where you can bring in the X-Men. Now you can bring in Magneto. Now you can revive even Pietro if you're able to bring in some of the X-Men from the Days of Future Past. I guess those kids, those origin that movie that they did,
Right.
and kind of pick it up from there, because I wouldn't mind seeing them play it again, because I know I hear again, I don't know how much truth is it, but Fassbender may be in it, reprising it as Magneto.
And that'd be good. That'd be really good because how far can Patrick Stewart and the actor Ian something that played
Ian
Magneto?
McClellan.
And McClellan, yeah. Like, how long can they play? Like, when you join Marvel, you're in for the long haul, especially with a big
Yeah,
role like that. So you need,
and
yeah,
Ian
you
is like in his
need
90s.
Fassbender. Exactly. He's
You know,
over
you got
this.
no.
Yeah.
So
So you
I
need.
definitely think they're gonna bring in the X-Men. I think how they're gonna do it is gonna be a huge factor in what
Mhm.
the next roles will be. I think that um
You need
they still
Fassbender
get.
and McAvoy.
I think so too. I think I would love to, and the fan in me would love to see Hugh Jackman reprise the role as Wolverine just one last time.
Yeah.
Just one, just give me one more goodbye, because Logan wasn't a great goodbye for me. I don't know. It was a
It
good
was
movie. It was a great
it
movie.
was it was meant to be sad.
Yeah. It was built because they knew where this was gonna be. It was his last one. He wanted to do the Logan, old man Logan, and kind of get through that and just kind of kill off the Wolverine. But I think if MCU is gonna bring it in, then definitely gotta get a good Wolverine in there. I don't know who they're gonna bring in. It's gonna be tough. I think Jackman played a great role,
I
but they
have
gotta
an
figure
idea.
something. If you say Zac Efron, I'm walking.
No, he'd be a bit young. I think he could pull it off. He's been in a few action movies. Um, one being one of my favorites, the Kingsman, and that would be Taron Egerton. You know, Taron Egerton,
Oh,
the one who played Elton John in Rocketman. Yeah, I think I think it will be a good role for him to grow. He obviously has the age, so he could go for another 10, 20 years with his role. Hugh Jackman has obviously his eyes on different things. He could come in and for the nostalgia purposes, but going forward, I would love to see him do it. But for how long? You know.
yeah.
So you have to
But you
have
can. That's what I'm
younger
saying.
men.
If you use Hugh Jackman, though, you can do the nostalgia moment, kind of show like he's a multiverse
Hmm.
Wolverine, and then you just tie it all in. Because at the end of this, from what I can kind of see, is that they're gonna create the one timeline again, but it
Yes, you
may
have to.
not be the same. But it's not gonna be the same timeline that it was when it was first broken. So
Yeah.
everything that from this universe may brought in, this universe will get brought in, this one, and it keeps doing that up until
Mhm.
you get the one line, and it goes back to the one storyline, which again, it'll be perfect for them to do if you show like other, this is kind of like what DC's gonna try to run with the Flash one. You're gonna show all these different versions, but then you can make one timeline again.
Right.
Because again, you're just doing, this is literally just something to say we're gonna fix any kind of mess ups we did. We're gonna adjust those mess ups to now correlate with the new storyline that we're running with, and this is the new universe that we will be following through. Um,
Right.
so that's why, in my opinion, I think if you bring in the X-Men, which I know it looks like they're gonna do it, um, because they already have their rights, so why not? This is where it's gonna work for them.
Yeah, I feel so too. I'm thinking along the lines of that as well because of everything from Infinity War and Endgame. you can't. There's only so many times you could go back into the Back to the Future. There's only so many times that you could go back into in the
Another
past.
universe thing.
Yeah, and a whole nother universe. Jesus, like, like there's only so many times that you go back into the past and try to fix things in the present without it affecting your future. And that's a butterfly
Yeah.
effect. You can't go in the past and say, "Oh man, I failed out of nursing school. Now I have all this debt, so I'm gonna go into the past and not do that application, but go into biomedical sciences where I don't have that debt, and then I could
You mean you
change
can
my
do
future."
that?
Go ahead.
I want to. Can I do that?
I would love to.
I would love to. I would love
I
to.
would be out of debt. That'd be a major thing.
Be a
But
major change in the game, but
yeah, let's go back. Oh yeah, let's go in the past and change my college career. Yeah, why not? But with that being said, it's just like if you come back to your present now, I may not be. We might not be friends. You know, rated F won't exist, or I may not be married to Angie, or you may not be getting married in October. There's so many ramifications that can happen. It's just like you need to let life be. And that's what I think this movie is going to do, and that's where it's going to mess up on purpose. So now it brings everything into one universe, but now it's a whole different type of chaos.
yep.
So they're trying to fix things, and now they're trying to fix what they've already tried to fix. And now when they think they have a solution, all hell's going to break loose. You cannot fix the past. You could only acknowledge it.
Yeah, and at this point, you're gonna see where they're gonna show that not only could they not fix the past, but now they have to learn from that past to create the new future and create this new timeline. So I think definitely you're gonna see that, which I'm excited to see it. Like I said, like a lot of those shows after watching, I was like, wow, I can't wait now, because you're gonna see a lot of different storylines, different perspectives, and they're gonna create that one perspective now. So I think definitely they're gonna do that. Which actually, and one other question, and it looks like you want to go ahead and say it, because you've said this question, or I guess your idea of this question a couple times, and you said their name, and I love that you're saying the name, because I've been jumping to say this, is the Illuminati. I'm not talking about we're talking about the Illuminati of the comics.
They hide in plain sight.
Yes, they hide in plain sight. But I am wanting to talk about the Illuminati in the Marvel universe, because it is a big factor. And I've been watching a lot of other shows and a lot of other videos, and I watched this one show on TikTok. But these guys, at least I see the podcast sometimes on TikTok, and I know they also have their YouTube show, and they were talking about the Illuminati, and they helped kind of break down the trailer on one of them, and they were kind of doing close-ups of stills, and they brought it up as well. And of course, I'm answering this question off the bat. The Illuminati will be in this. When you hear Charles Xavier's voice, you already kind of know where this is gonna go. But not only were they showing the Charles Xavier, but if you watch some of the stills, you see Reed Richards. You can kind of see it's very. You have to kind of like watch the certain scene, but there's a scene in the trailer where they're showing, like, it's a very quick shot. So it's the back view of Strange looking up at the console, and he's kind of in handcuffs. And they show that he's talking to them. On that still, you see an elongated kind of stretchy man, with a little bit of white. It's very faint. Again, you have to like pause it and really like examine it. But you do see the look of Reed Richards. You do see and hear Charles Xavier. One person that they brought up a couple times, and I know a lot of people have seen it, is that, and it's a great cameo because he should have been the original Iron Man, is that they're bringing in Tom Cruise to play a Tony Stark of another universe.
Right.
And he's playing, not only is he, from what I could see, he's not only playing the Tony Stark, he's playing the one that has all the Infinity Stones, the superior Iron Man.
Oh, okay. So the very arrogant,
the cosmic Iron Man.
Everything that he wanted to accomplish, he accomplished. He learned nothing.
Exactly.
Okay.
So in this one, he's really powerful. He is really smart. He is, all powerful at this point because he has all the Infinity Stones. But he also takes over like one of the universes, technically, and keeps a good piece though out of it. And he
Right.
has the Ultron bots, which they do show the Ultron bots in there, and he's walking with Doctor Strange is in handcuffs, walking with the Ultron bots.
Right.
So there's a lot of stuff in the Illuminati. There is one other person in the Illuminati that I can't for the life of me can't think of right now.
Well, the original members of the Illuminati, let me just I have to remind myself. So you have Doctor Strange. Um, there's Black Bolt. You have
Yes, Black
Namor.
Bolt.
Mr. Fantastic. I see Iron Man. Also the from the X-Men side, you have Charles Xavier, and there's a timeline, a comic book, I should say, where also Magneto is a part of it because of how vast and how big and how different the X-Men universe is. So you need to kind of account for everyone. So they needed two people from that universe. But there's certain ones where Black Panther was in it, but originally Black Panther had turned it down because he's like, I don't like this. This is, we make the rules and we could break them as well.
Yeah, it's like you're playing God.
Yeah, exactly. So he ultimately he joins like afterwards because he sees exactly what they're trying to do and what they're trying to accomplish. But in the forefront, he says no. I think that's the direction that they should go because with Chadwick unfortunately passing away in these past few years, you pay homage to it and bring it up that we have other members who we were interested in, but they unfortunately turned it away. There's also a way to explain it in the sense of this is why we are all here individually and as a whole. But you could the Marvel Cinematic Universe never really follows the comic books to a T. Obviously the content is there, but you got to put your own spin to things, and they've done that since the first the
very first like 6 movies they said that too. I think
the very
they
first Captain
mentioned
America. Yeah, if you count Hulk, yeah, cool. But if
you technically have to count.
you can because General
General Ross.
General Ross was in there. Unfortunately, he passed away too. So there's a lot of things that
the
they
big
have to
thing.
fix.
There's a lot of things that they have to fix with that, and there's a lot of stuff because of the multiverse. I think can play a huge factor, and I know they want to go with eventually a Hulk solo movie, and they want to do I can see them going into like the Red Hulk. I know they're doing a She-Hulk show, which they've shown bits of it, but they're gonna eventually want to lead into the Hulk movie, where they're gonna introduce her into the movie profile, and they're also going to try to introduce the Red Hulk. So I can see them with this also adding that into that as well.
Right.
And then I know they're really trying to dive into this Illuminati stuff because of the fact that they're gonna play a huge role, and I think it's gonna play a huge role how Kang, because like you mentioned the Illuminati earlier, piggybacking off of that, Kang is gonna be a huge factor in making these guys thinking that they're making the right moves, and he's actually fiddling with those moves to create his own pathline.
Right. Exactly. He's feeding them the seed so he could grow his own force.
Exactly.
It's
and I definitely
really,
could see that
really
happening.
cool. It's very cool. It's very treacherous. I always like the villains who use their mind. Because you can test someone's mind. And you could be as strong as you can, but if your mind isn't strong enough, if you don't have the adequate intellect to figure things out, he could play you like a fiddle. I love it.
Yep.
Absolutely love it. So that's definitely the way to go.
Thanos was that big character too, and Marvel's done a really great job with Thanos' character because he did the same thing. He made them almost believe that they had him, and then every time they thought, okay, we got him, he would use one of the gemstones or he would do something else, and it was definitely a good play. And then I think, and I'm back to I'm pretty much running back to that other question. Because if you watch the What If sagas, they put Ultron, that superior Ultron, in that crystal with the superior. Why am I blanking on his name?
Who? Superior
Not Black
Iron
Panther.
Namor.
No. Black Panther's cousin,
Oh, Killmonger.
Killmonger. Thank you. I
Okay.
don't know why I blanked on that. But in that What If saga, when they brought him in to help them stop the Ultron that was in Vision's body,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what it's.
he may come back too. That may be something that it may create another fight because right now in that
I would
crystal you have
love
two
to see.
people who are trapped in that fighting with each other. Then they may come out trying to help each other out to only stab each other in the back.
Right.
And then to fight an Iron Man who has all the same crystals right now from his universe.
Yeah. And Marvel's not the type to throw away a good actor because Michael B. Jordan is amazing. I love every single movie that he's made. Even Chronicle, I think that was his first movie, really. It was a decade ago or so. But to have him as Killmonger and then he just kind of dies at the end of the movie, they never do that with villains. Ever.
When they know they're going to use him for the long haul, they won't use it. But the fact that they're doing the what ifs and all this multiverse makes
I hope he comes
sense
back.
now.
Especially, it's easy just to say, "Oh yeah, he's actually the son of the original Black Panther." Well,
But it's not though
he
because
is Black Panther in his multiverse, in his universe, and you can bring him
yes
in.
and no though because you're gonna run with the fact that he is the Killmonger, who has the Black Panther powers and all that and the serum in him,
Yeah.
but they can continue because from what it sounds like they're gonna put in Shuri as Black Panther's sister, his younger sister. She does take over as the Black Panther later on.
Okay, cool.
So they are gonna go that route versus adding Michael B. Jordan to become the Black Panther because Killmonger never technically was good. He always was the bad guy.
Right. Because of the
So
way
this
he
is
had to grow
definitely
up.
yeah, and I think with the Illuminati I think it's big because they're gonna see that he's in that crystal. They're gonna show the other Doctor Strange, the Dark Doctor Strange is there because if you remember in the trailer they do show him a couple times. Right. It is going to get weird, and I was like, "Whoa, okay."
Oh man. Well, on that note, I would have to ask you, what are your expectations? You're on a roll here. You're. I like where your mind is going. You're hot. You're hot right now. You're shooting all threes. So, what are your expectations of this movie of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse?
Well, my expectations is it's going to be a great movie. It's going to be a huge movie. For the simple fact that they're going to bring in a lot of stuff. They're going to bring in all the works for this to tie in for the new, for the next phase that they're going to go into with the new Avengers, with the X-Men. In my opinion, I think this is going to be huge for this role because if this movie flops, it's only going to make it that much harder for them to jump to the next phase. Because how are you going to recover from this movie, which is supposed to be your next biggest movie after Endgame? Yeah. This is going to be the movie that's going to pretty much set you up for the future. Right. And then the fact that you're bringing in so many cameos of Tom Cruise, who's already known that he's going to be there, Sir Charles, Patrick Stewart. You have, you have all the other characters like Reed Richards, Namor. So it's going to be big. It's going to be a really big movie. I can't wait to see it. I'm excited to see what they're going to do with it. Especially, I keep going back to the shows because the shows kind of tie in as part of the trailers.
Yeah, you have to. You have to look at the shows. You have to watch the shows because it's content that's happening at the same time, earlier or after the events that you're watching in the movie. You can only put a movie on for so long, but with the amount of content and the amount of detail that you could put in a series, that bridges the gaps between movies now, and I love how they've done that. I remember when Disney Plus was starting coming out, and people said that wasn't good, it wasn't going to work, and they came out WandaVision, they came out, and it's like, wow, this is good. This is very good. It shows you what's happening at the current time, just somewhere else. Yep. Even shows like Jessica Jones, they noticed that things were happening. They acknowledged, oh yeah, the big green guy. It's like, okay, the Hulk. So they understand what's going on. It's just they're elsewhere doing their own thing.
Which is perfect because everyone, I think that's the one thing in the movies you really don't get a chance to see is all the other perspectives. Like you said, it's just so much content. You can't bring it out. So with this, when you're doing the shows and you're doing all the movies to tie in with the shows,
Mm.
works out because you're seeing what's going on in this end, you're seeing what's going on in this end, then you're going to see what's going on in this end, and then you're going to see what's going on. So it eventually starts kind of piggybacking of everything, and it all's in the same chronological order. So like
Mm-hmm.
with WandaVision and Loki, and again, I'm bringing it up because everything that was going on in WandaVision at the exact same time was going on with Loki.
Mm-hmm.
So when she created her multiverse, then you also have to see that Loki destroyed the multiverse on his end. And
Right.
then after that happened, from what it looks like, it's like almost days later is when Doctor Strange does the mess up with his multiverse when he was trying to help Peter with his stuff. So now it's adding so much different effects, and like you said, adding the Jessica Jones, adding the Daredevil
Mm-hmm.
perspective into it, all tying it in together.
Right.
It can't be any better than that. You definitely got to see them. You definitely got to see that they're doing really good moves. I know Samuel L. Jackson has already mentioned that he's doing the Secret Wars movie, so this is going to lead into that as well.
Right.
So it's going to be a lot of different connections to the next phases that they definitely need. So I'm excited to it. What
Oh,
about you?
I have the highest expectations for this movie because of I know how much money they poured into it and how much they really need to. It really, when you put that much money into a movie, it needs to be good, and I think it will, because Doctor Strange has every cameo that he's done. The movie, the original Doctor Strange, kind of showed you a different cinematic view when it comes to superhero movies. They kind of added that Inception look to it. You know, everything is just kind of falling on its own, and this and the other is good. The world is kind of like it's like a kaleidoscope, but it's falling into itself, but also expanding at the same time. It's very
Yeah,
trippy, you know, and I love it, and I love how they did that. They showed that, especially um, with the one, they kind of did that power, but she
yeah.
knocked his soul out of his body.
I want to do
Yeah,
that.
like,
Let me still
wow.
side note to that. I want to just hit somebody that hard that I can knock them out of their body.
They could see it. Like, oh goodness, sorry, it's just a parking spot. God,
I love that. I love
but
when they do that, and she does it again in the end game when she comes back and does it to the Hulk, and he's already
yes,
green. That was
and
like
then he
perfect.
comes, he does it to Doctor Strange does it to Spider-Man
Yes.
in Far From Home or No Way Home, whatever. And it's
Oh my God, that
to
was
me, it's a
actually a
beautiful
great
power
scene.
because cinematically it looks so awesome. Every time they did it, it was different, but it was the same power, but it affects people differently. I love it. You know, I like me personally just kind of jumping into all of these universes back and forth, back and forth. It's gonna be hard to keep up with it without a proper storyline. And Marvel, to me, always has a proper storyline. They might, you know, branch off and go on these side streets, but 192, we're here in Florida, but 192 is always the main street. You know, it's a yeah. You might, you know, go to Holy, you might go here, you might go there, you might visit the mall, da, 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 but there's always 192. You know,
Takes you
it's
right back into it.
takes you right back. No matter where you go, you end up right back there. So it to me is going to be a wonderful storyline. It's going to be very long. I feel like it's going to be just as long as a Batman movie. It was about 3 hours because there's so much content, so many characters, so much setup for the future. You need that setup, and you need to do it correctly, and you can't cut too much out of it. Like kind of how they did with I think it was Infinity War. He was supposed to be in, or Endgame, one of the two, where there was a scene where Doctor Strange was having a meeting with the Living Tribunal. And the Living
Mm.
Tribunal was trying to tell him what needs to happen in order to set the balance of everything. But they took that out because they were like, well, let's wait until the Eternals so we could give the magnitude of how big these beings are. Unfortunately, in Eternals, great cast, but it's just a crappy movie. But
I haven't
yeah,
even seen it
they
yet.
should it.
I
Look,
want to because I know they're gonna need to.
just watch it when you're bored. It's not. You'll be fine not watching it. It doesn't really
I kind of
make
want to
a
watch it because I
difference.
feel like it's gonna have a big factor on the next phase because of the fact that you're gonna. I think they mentioned Thanos in there. I think they mentioned a couple other like big
Yeah,
titans in there. So
yeah,
you
but
kind of
in a
need to see
weird
it.
way. Watch it. Watch it when you're done. Like, do your taxes and then watch it. Like, that's the kind of movie that.
So I should watch it while doing my taxes. Is what you're saying?
No, taxes is much more important than
Oh,
wasting your time with
do
the
the
damn
taxes
movie.
and then afterwards.
Look, do your dog's taxes and then watch this movie. It's so terrible.
Oh my god.
But to me, it's a filler movie. It's a filler, not to stray off the topic, but it's a filler movie because it gives you an understanding of what things are supposed to look like. So Marvel has a niche of doing that. They'll be like, oh, so this is what it will look like if this happens or if that happens, and then they'll make a movie that's kind of surrounded on that technology, and they'll really show you what's going on. So
Yeah.
some of these filler movies are almost trailers for other movies because now you see the magnitude of how big, say, Galactus is supposed to be on screen, how big the Living Tribunal is supposed to be, how big um, Dormammu. They just show you like the head of Dormammu, but they don't show you the body of Dormammu. In Eternals, they show you the whole body from head to toe of what a Celestial is supposed to look like, and you're like, wow, these are planet eaters. Like it gives you a
Yeah.
good understanding of what they're supposed to look like. Yeah, it's nice. Cinematically, it looks beautiful. The storyline is crap. But anyway, I have the utmost expectations for Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. I cannot wait for the summertime so I can see this movie. Um, yeah. That's pretty much all I have to say about it, man. It's good. It's good.
I mean, and like I said, this movie has a lot of big things for us. So I can see them going forward and really stepping it into this. Like you said, they put so much money into it, but and not to say that they haven't put money in a lot of movies in the past and still can.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we've mentioned a couple of them. Eternals is one of them.
Been there,
Avengers,
done that.
yeah, or Avengers 2, I should say. But yeah, though they can still drop it. But I think, in my opinion, I don't see that happening. I think the actors also play a good role with this, and they're big with like the commitment into doing it.
Mm. That'll be
So which
nice.
leads us to the final question of the day, and our favorite question: is this a rated F movie, or if you want to just? Oh, you're already saying yeah to it.
You go. You go ahead. You go ahead is what I was gonna say.
It's a rated F movie. I think the movie's gonna be rated F. I think the trailers is a rated F. I think this is definitely rated F completely. Everything we spew on, everything we get geeked up about, is about this. I think this definitely does touch on it. Everything that we want to see, everything that we've said. I wonder what if this would have happened. This is perfect.
Right. I 100% this is going to be rated F. I have to wait until the end of the movie and then we could do like a spoiler review of it. But to me personally, rated F all the way. Uh, this is going to be a pinnacle movie. This is going to be a very, very important movie, and I think they could pull it off.
Yeah, I definitely think I could see them pulling. If they don't pull this off, it'll be a shame.
It will be.
I know that. I think they've already. Some people are like, oh well, like DC's making a comeback, and I'm a huge DC fan. I've mentioned it many times. I do hope that they do make a comeback with the Batman doing so well, and broke a couple records so far. So I definitely would love to see the Batman propel DC in the right way. But I think Marvel has been on such a tremendous push from the get-go when they created Iron Man as the first MCU movie up into where they're at now. I don't see this story falling off. So I definitely think they're going to just knock this one out of the ballpark.
I think so too, man. Well, guys, what do you feel? Comment below. Let us know. How do you feel about this movie? How do you feel about the trailer? What is your biggest pet peeves about it? What are the pros and cons? What do you guys see? Let us know. And as always, let us know what you guys want us to talk about next Sunday. Felix and I had a conversation. We're going to be doing this every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern time over here in Florida. So 2
And
p.m.
there are some
Eastern
other
time.
things coming up too. We got some other stuff coming up. We're actually gonna actually collab about this after the show. So stay in the bubble, Rob, when we're done here. I
Nice.
do want to kind of tell you about some opportunities that have also came up and was presented to us. I definitely think this is going to be great for us to see. So yes, we're going to be running our shows every Sunday around 2:00. Hopefully, majority of them probably be live, but we're going to definitely try to continue giving you guys content. But let us know, guys. We love to hear it. If you agree with us, if you disagree with us, if you think that we're just plain idiots about what our perspective is, let us know. We want to hear it. We have Twitter, we have Instagram on there. We will definitely follow up and try to get those comments up and kind of let everyone know where we stand on it and get a good content.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's it for us today, guys. I'm Robbie.
I'm Felix.
This is Rated F. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.
Wow, this is the thrill. Welcome to the thrill. Giving you something that's real. Tell me how you really feel. Now that you're hearing the thrill.